So, basically, I'm portraying that I'm a militiaman, owner of the house, perhaps, or a laborer in the house, and every man between 16 and 60 had to be registered with the militia. In the militia, they had to have a musket, a shot pouch, a powder horn, a hatchet or an axe, and a blanket. And they had to be drilled once a month, and generally those drills would occur on the town green. And they would drill for a while, and then it would turn into a picnic. The families would come out and they catch up on all the things they haven't heard from each other in a month, and catch on current events and whatnot. So at this point in time, the standing army is starting to be developed. At this point, they're basically mostly state militia, colonial militias. Each colony had its own militia force, so the governor that was responsible for the militia. Each town had their own, or village, depending on how big it was, would have their own militia force. So they needed about 100 men for a company. So some towns may have combined if they don't have that many people, that many men that are eligible. But a lot of times, the militia system continued up into the 19th century, well into the 19th century, and some of the accounts refer to it, militia drills, as turning into like raucous, good times.
Why not?
Bring that back.
Yeah. Mary said so. It's gonna happen. So I'm doing leather work. Again, there's no factory system, industrial, revolution wouldn't come for quite some time. So everything is done by hand. So if you look on that musket there, there's a cartridge box and a bayonet scabbard with a bayonet baldric carrier. All that had to be sewn together by hand.
Did people make their own rifles, or did one person?
There were rifle makers.
Yeah.
That was a skill. It was a trade. So you'd go to a rifle maker. I'm sure some people could have put together their own if they had the skills, blacksmithing skills, woodworking skills, brazing skills. But generally, you'd go to if you were going to have a rifle made, which would be a year's salary for a hunter even, it would be quite expensive. But Pennsylvania had a large amount of rifle makers. Here, we were generally relying on the armory system, what the armory had in store, or what you personally had in your family. So, hunting, there was generally, good hunting on Long Island. As it grew, it diminished, but so every family would have a fowling piece at least. They can go out and you can shoot ducks or birds, grouse and whatnot. Don't shoot the guinea hens. Deer. So the musket or the rifle was a tool. So it was a necessary part of life. Not everybody could afford to go, buy meat, and especially if you have rabbits all over your yard. Well,
That's food.
I'd rather have a free rabbit than pay for a rabbit. So anyway, the cartridge box, the bayonet scabbard, that had to be sewn together by hand, and you probably had, for a big town like Hempstead, you probably had a few leather workers, leather shops in there, or cordwainers or shoemakers that would take on contracts with the Congress to produce arms. A stand of arms is a musket, a bayonet, and a full set of the leathers, which they call Civil War, they call them traps, or accoutrement in French. And so a big shop may have a couple of apprentices, or maybe a journeyman or two that were above the apprentice status, but they weren't out on their own yet. So if they got a contract for 100 boxes and bayonet scabbards, a month, and you got 10 other leather shops in the area to do the same 100 boxes in that month period. So you're equipping 1,000 soldiers a month, just through what you got going on. So the contracts, again, they could have, I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I'm just using 100 as a ballpark number. Would probably be a reasonable number, because I can turn out one whole set a day by myself, and I don't do this all the time. A professional shoemaker or cordwainer could probably turn out 5 or 6 sets of these with the help of his apprentices and his journeymen. So, and then, again, that's on top of other things, making shoes. The Army needed shoes. So you had the shoemakers that were making shoes. There was a lot going on, and they really ramped up to equip a standing army, which we never had before. So it was like an all hands on deck kind of situation. Aside from farming, raising crops, bringing in crops, fishing, and all the other things that go along with normal life. Now you're raising an army, you got to equip it. I started to talk about the muskets and being in armories. A lot of the armories were stocked with muskets, older muskets, some of which, probably more than half, were probably from the French and Indian War, where we captured numerous amounts of arms from the French. And so those muskets would have been put back into service during the Revolutionary War. We were buying muskets from France, and they were equipping the army as it developed with the early French muskets, similar to what's behind Chris there. Mine's a French musket. Mine is more of a French and Indian War period musket. It's the 1750s. It's called an anchor fusee, but they were shipped over from France for the population of New France.